That's just sports, baby.
Crowd goes wild. Strawberry ice, bringing fire and style. Reds, Bengals, Bearcats, all in my zone. This is my stage, my mic, my throne. Boom, like a hammer, I'm breaking the game. Strawberry ice, you're gonna know my name. Sports Talk Thunder, hear the podcast roar. Cincy Fine is kicking down the door. Step into the ring where the passion ignites. Talking sports all day and all night. From the field to the court to the roaring stands. Strawberry ice with the world in my hands. Boom, like a hammer, I'm breaking the game. Strawberry ice, you're gonna know my name. Sports Talk Thunder, hear the podcast roar. Cincy Fine is kicking down the door.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, Iceman, Jeff Trennepohl. And as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio. And as always, come live to you from that ice cave.
All right, shout out to my sponsors. They are Priority Lawn and Landscaping for all your lawn and landscaping needs. You need your grass cut, you need your shrubbery trimmed, I don't know, you need a paper patio, you need anything, I mean anything. Landscaping required. Think Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Also, shout out to T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And of course, Meyer Window, Door, and more. I got it in my house. I highly recommend you get them in yours. They're energy efficient, great looking windows, easy to clean. Meyer Window, Door, and more. The website is MeyerCincinnati.com. And also, shout out to my favorite brewery, Moorline Lager House. Get on down there, get you some delicious Moorline beer, some delicious Moorline food. And tell them I sent you. Moorline Lager House.
Hey guys, want to win a signed T. Higgins helmet? Like this one right here? Want to know how? Go to the Moorline Lager House website, sign up for their loyalty program, and you will automatically be entered. Already a member? Great. You want to double your chances though? Come on down to my tailgate. Buy a ticket to the pregame experience presented by Best Day Brewery. I'll even give you $10 off by using the promo code pregame10 for $10 off. So let's try this again. You go to Moorline Lager House website, sign up for the loyalty program. You're already entered. Great. Then get a ticket to the pregame experience presented by Best Day Brewery at the Moorline Lager House. That's not good enough. $10 off by using promo code 10 and all this. So you can get this helmet that we will be giving away November 23rd. November 23rd. So come on down then. Make sure you win. Come on down this Sunday. We're going to have a great time. We got a DJ. We got beer pong. We got cornhole. We got ice. We're going to root the Bengals on. What more do you want? Let's go! And, of course, we're not going to be there this Sunday because the Bengals are on a bye week, but we will be back down there next Sunday. So make sure you guys register to try to win that T. Higgins autograph helmet. We will be giving it away November 23rd. What is up there, everybody in the chat? We've got Stranger in there. We got Brandon in there. Yes, Fantasy Bankroll. He is here, but he's not here. He's driving. He had to go run some errands, but he will be on the show here in a little bit. Tony Belazen's in there. What's up? Keeper's in there. David's in there. What is going on, everybody? Ice. Augie just showed up. What's going on, Augster? All right, guys. So I've been a little much on a heater this week and irritated about, well, the Bengals season and how they completely just crushed the last 2 weeks, the opposite direction of I won't say any chances because this division is still up for grabs and crazier things that happen and we're still undefeated in the division. But for the most part, it looks like we're not going to make the playoffs again, which I hope I'm wrong. They had these last two games versus the Jets, winless Jets, and the Bears, and they win both of them. And go to Pittsburgh next week and maybe play for the division, but they lost both of them, and I've been putting a lot of heat on Duke Tobin. I still want to keep doing that because fundamentally, I think that's the problem. I just saw a clip from the Growler podcast. Paul Danner Jr. was on there, and Mo Egger. Both those guys have been on my podcast a couple of different times. And Paul Danner, I think, said he did a story about how Duke Tobin had been part of the draft for the past 10 years, all up to 2023. And all up until then, the drafts have been fairly decent. I mean, for the most part, they did a pretty good job of drafting. But since then, they've done an absolutely horrible job. So I was thinking, if you guys missed it, I was on Ace and Zim's show last night, and Ace brought this up. And this is something that I thought about a couple years ago, back when Marvin Lewis was still our head coach. I thought maybe Marvin might be a good guy to move in to the general manager's role, because I think he's a very good evaluator of talent. I think he really helped the Bengals out in their drafting and developing of players. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't think the Bengals would go outside the organization. And this way, I'm not even saying they have to get rid of Duke. What I'm saying is hire Marvin Lewis as your GM, put him above Duke. And because him and Duke worked together before, I know it'd be kind of weird with Zach Taylor as the head coach still and Marvin as the GM since Zach replaced Marvin. But I think they'd be able to work together because you'd be forced to. And put it this way, if Marvin's the GM, he can say, all right, Zach, I'll give you this year. And if you don't, put it together, I'll help, I'll help you draft better and stuff like that, and hopefully add to the scouting department because we need to do that. I think that would be the best option because Marvin Lewis has the Browns' ear. Mike Brown trusts Marvin Lewis. I don't think Mike Brown wanted to fire Marvin Lewis in the first place. I think the noise from the outside got too big for him to ignore. And that's why we need, as fans, to keep banging the drum. You got to change something, Mike. What you're doing isn't working. I don't know. How would you guys feel about Marvin Lewis potentially being the Bengals' next general manager? I think it'd be the best option. I mean, I would love somebody outside of the organization who's been there, done that. I don't think they're going to come here because I don't think they will be given the power that they require. Excuse me. I think Marvin Lewis has got the family's trust, knows how to work in the parameters that we have. And they trust Duke, they trust Zach, and they trust Marvin, and they have all three of them working together going, hey, we got to change some things here. We got to draft better. We need to add more scouts. We need to do this. Maybe, just maybe, it might work. I don't know. That's just my thoughts because what they've done the last couple of years has been awful. And this is just the last 2 years. When the Bengals are 1-4 on scoring 38 points in the last 2 years. All other teams combined, all the 31 teams combined are 62-4-2. That right there tells you it's the freaking defense. Now, other thing I want to say is people say they don't want to spend money. I don't agree. I don't agree that they're cheap because I've said this over and over and over on the show. They cost themselves more money than any team I've ever seen. They cost them more money with T. Higgins. They cost themselves more money with Jamar Chase because they waited too long. And I honestly think that they were going to do something in free agency, but they got so wrapped up talking to Jamar and T and Trey and Mike G and all their other ones they wanted to sign that they didn't have enough people to try to go out and get a safety in free agency, get another linebacker, get a defensive end. I mean, they could have, they should have. They got enough money. I mean, this is their salary cap for the next 3 years. Next year, they're going to be $69 million under the cap. 2027, 134. 2028, 183. They're going to have plenty of money. Now you say, yeah, well, that just goes back in Mike Brown's pocket, which it might. But if we keep making enough noise, they're going to change. Mike Brown will change eventually. I'm putting this in Katie and Elizabeth. The ball's in your court. You have the ear of your grandfather. You guys are the reason things have changed in the stadium. You're the reason we got the Ring of Honor. You're the reason we've had the Striped Jungle game, and we've had different uniform combinations and all this other stuff, which is great. I've enjoyed all of it. Now you need to go and look what they're doing down the road and the girls for the Colts and how they're running the organization and say, Grandpa, things are changing. You got this window where you have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Joe's been here 6 years. You should have already at least won one Super Bowl. Don't you want your legacy to at least look, Dad, I won a Super Bowl and you didn't. Here's how you do it. Here's the guy that can help you do it. And I'm not saying they got to add 27 scouts. They got 8. Add 4 more. I mean, make the effort. Go to the University of Cincinnati when they're playing one of the top, 15 teams in the country. Go to Nippert. Send a scout there. Watch them. Go to Ohio State. Watch the players. Because both times you guys didn't have one single scout there, which blows my freaking mind. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit about this here. Let's see here. Augie says it's brilliant. Thank you. Augie also bringing up ice. What's the scenario I'm reading about the Jets? Okay. I saw this. There's something going around on Twitter where, the Jets got a lot of draft picks. And the Jets fans like, hey, we can pack all these up. And the Bengals need draft picks. They got Joe Flacco, who's 40 years old. Maybe they'll trade us Joe Burrow for a whole bunch of draft picks. No. Not going to happen. It's a stupid clickbait thing. It's dumb. I made fun of them on it. And I told them to lay off the crack because there's absolutely no way the Bengals are trading Joe Burrow to the New York Jets. That's insanity. They're stubborn. Like I said, they're stubborn. So in this stubbornness, as Duke Tobin said about T. Higgins, we got our own wide receiver. Go get your own wide receiver. We got ours. We got a quarterback. Go get your own quarterback. Joe Burrow's not going anywhere. Augie said that's brilliant. Thank you. I appreciate that. David, I agree 100%. I've had the same thought over years. See, Paul Marvin would do it in my opinion. I think he would. We'll see. Yep, Marvin has great eyes. I think he does. And all those are Senior Bowl. Yep, you're right. We all want the Senior Bowl, which that's why they have to diversify and not just choose guys from the Senior Bowl. Let's see here. Leonard, excuse me. Marvin Lewis would be great, especially for draft picks. I'm asking Santa Claus to get John Gruden as head coach. Leonard, John Gruden's not coming here. You could ask Santa Claus, and if you believe in Santa Claus, then you would believe that John Gruden might come to the Bengals. But Crib Keeper, Marvin Lewis, GM, and Vance Joseph as head coach. Yeah. I'll just take Marvin back as put him as a GM. Let's see. Gregory, give Katie a headset and get on the sideline. That's what the Ursay girls are. One of them's doing. She's just listening to it. Add 20 scouts minimum. Stranger, I don't. The Carolina Panthers have 15. If they at least get to 15, that'll be great. 20. I'll try to ask for a little bit. Maybe we can add 4. I'm just asking for 4. 4 more, maybe 5. We'll see. Let's see, Gregory. Ice. Just look at the actual production on Power 5 teams versus measurables. It's not that difficult. Well, if you just look at the draft, like me and Skinny were talking yesterday, take the layups in the draft. If that's what you're talking about, Gregory, take the layups in the draft. G.I. Campbell was sitting there. Ragnow, if I'm saying his name right, the guard in the second round, just sitting there. I mean, Starks, the safety, was sitting there in the first round. They're there. Draft them. I mean, those are layup picks. I mean, you need a linebacker. You need a safety. There's a linebacker sitting there and a safety sitting there. I mean, if you weren't, to me, I remember back in the draft, I wasn't so enamored with Jihad Campbell because he had a shoulder injury. I'm like, I don't know how that's going to play out because I kept saying we need a guy to make an impact now. So that's why I wasn't really wanting him. I wanted Walter Nolan is who I wanted. I probably would have taken been okay or happier if they would take it Starks because, well, we did nothing with the safety. Let's see here. Crip. The sad thing about the 8 scouts Ice was talking about is 5 of them so Cookies on their day off. Yeah, sure, 50. That's fine. Yeah, just we got to get more scouts. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, at least to be able to get out to the it just blows my mind that they had none at the UC, and I'm trying Iowa State game. That's what it was. UC Iowa State game. There was 15 NFL scouts there, and none of them were from the Cincinnati Bengals. Nobody could get in a car and get a press pass or scout pass or buy a ticket or whatever they got to do to get into Nippert and watch that game. It's literally in your backyard. That's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's see here. Julian, do you think we could have got more for Logan Wilson? No. Because I love Logan. He was benched on the worst defense in football. So why would anybody give you any more than that? Because the Bengals were basically just looking to dump a salary. So everybody who's getting upset about getting the 7th round pick, they cut Logan's legs out from under him when they benched him. And your defense sucks. So how can you get more from a guy that you're not even playing? I mean, you're not playing the guy. You're kind of hamstrung there. Gregory. Amen, brother. They try to be cute and think they can outsmart other teams. Paul Brown could, but nobody else. And that's the thing. Skinny brought this up the other day. And I don't get this stubbornness. I mean, I get being stubborn. I mean, ask my wife. I'm stubborn when it comes to certain things. But when you're proving over and over and over and over and over and over again that the way you're doing it isn't working, I mean, yes, they've had more success since. And I truly believe when Marvin Lewis got here, Mike Brown listened to Marvin. He took his advice. I truly believe that they listened to Duke Tobin. I truly believe that they listened to Zach Taylor. I do believe those things. Mike Brown's still the GM. That's where I'm like, if you get all 3 of these guys together, the only 3 that have been able to get Mike Brown to do anything any different than what he did in the 90s, and like I said, from 92 to 2003 when Marvin got here, it was the Mike Brown show. Mike Brown drafted him. Mike Brown was the president. Mike Brown hired the coaches. He fired the coaches. And we were the worst franchise in all of professional sports when Mike Brown was doing it all by himself, trying to prove that he was his dad, which he's not. He's a lawyer. Didn't even play college football. So I do believe that Mike has changed. I do believe that Mike wants to win. I do believe Mike isn't willing to do everything it takes to win. And there's lots of owners like that. Jerry Jones, he's been trying to prove for almost 30 years now that the 3 Super Bowls they won was because of him and not Jimmy Johnson. And all he's done is prove the 3 Super Bowls they won was because of Jimmy Johnson and not him. So that's where I hold out hope. That's where I think there is a chance. That's why I think you got to bring somebody back in that Mike Brown trusts. And I can't remember the guy's name below Duke. I don't see them elevating him above Duke or replacing Duke, and him having the same respect from Mike Brown that Duke Tobin does. That's where Mike Brown would trust him. Mike Brown doesn't trust a lot of people. And then he got that from his dad because of what happened in Cleveland, where he lost the franchise and he wasn't the head coach anymore, and it all got taken away from him. Mike, your family's owned this team since 1968. You just signed another lease, stadium lease. You're in Cincinnati. Nobody's taking this franchise away from you. You can trust other people to give us loyal fans and yourself a chance at a Super Bowl. It's okay. And that's the stubbornness I'm going back to that I don't get. I don't understand why you're so hell-bent on proving that you can do it. All right, let's just put it this way. Let's say the Bengals do win a Super Bowl in the Joe Burrow era, which I still believe they can. They're not going to go, oh my goodness, Mike Brown is a genius. He's just as smart as his dad. You know why? Because they got 30 years of evidence that you're not. So there's no chance you're ever. And I'm not trying to be mean. Mike, if you're listening, you're not going to be compared to your dad. That ship sailed 20 years ago. That ship sailed when you ran the organization by yourself, and we were the worst run professional team in sports. You're in your 90s, dude. I got out of practice. I see him. He goes out there. He goes to out there on his golf cart. He loves football. He does. He loves this team. He loves this city. I truly believe that. But I think he's got it back of his dad, drilled it in his head. And hey, you got parents that drilled stuff in your head, you'll be 70, 80 years old, and that's still there. Paul Brown drilled it into Mike Brown's head. Don't let anybody take over this team. 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 That's what Mike has got drilled in his head. Mike can still be the president. Make it the president. He's still above the GM. He still could have final say of whatever Marvin Lewis, the GM, does. But at least Marvin is somebody he's worked with before and has trust with. All right, let's see here. Let me go scroll back up here. Rashad, yeah. There you go. Hire Rashad. Rashad. Man, my tongue is not working today. Hire me. I'll bring in 11 Vontaze perfects. Let's go, baby. I'll take that. Let's see here. All right, I'll pin this, and when soon as Bake gets in here, Patrick, I'll ask him the question there. So I'll make sure I got that one pinned so I can find it. And because I am not your fantasy expert. But we will be talking that here as soon as Bake gets in. Wing. The owners think they are the smartest ones in the room, and will not change to bring in GMs or scouts. I'll go back to what I said before. He has changed. There's been 2 times he's changed. But he's never changed when he hired Marvin Lewis. He changed when he promoted basically Duke Tobin, and Duke Tobin hire Zach Taylor. The seat has never been hotter on Duke Tobin or the Brown family. I really think it's hotter now than it's ever been, because Bengals fans and the public know how good this team should be. This team should be up there in the top 5, top 3 in the NFL. When you have, you got to have a healthy Joe Burrow, but you have a Joe Burrow, you have a Jamar Chase, you have a T. Higgins, you have this offense the way it is. When they went into Arrowhead and beat Patrick Mahomes when nobody else has been able to do that in the playoffs. That, to me, makes this even hotter. And that's what is so frustrating to us fans. is we can see it. Like I said, I was never on board with their plan this year. I saw their plan. I didn't like it. Their plan was that Al Golden was going to coach these guys up. He's going to make the defense simpler, and they were going to play like because how can I say it? We just said don't suck. All the defense had to do is just don't suck. We'll score 30 points. Don't suck. What they've done, they have sucked, and they have gotten worse. These last 2 weeks have been awful. They have gotten worse than they were at the beginning of the year. That's what is frustrating about this whole freaking thing. So keep putting the fire on them. Keep putting the pressure on them. I really do think something's going to happen. But the Bengals don't move as fast as we want them to do. I'll go back to they should have signed T. Higgins 2 years ago. They should have signed Jamar the year before last. We all said to do it. Everybody told them to do it, because all it's going to do is cost you more money. What did they do? They slow walked it. Everybody's telling them to fire Duke, fire Zach, get a GM in there, get more scouts in there. Everybody's telling them that's bam, bam. That's what they're constantly hearing. I think there's a chance. Now they're not going to go out there and hire 20 scouts. Like I said, they might not. They don't want to fire Duke because he's part of the family. This is why my idea is hire Marvin above Duke. They can work together. That way, the Browns can keep the guys they want, which Duke has had some good drafts. He has done some good things. He did them better with Marvin because when Marvin and him were working together, when we didn't have a top 5 pick, we were still drafting guys. We were drafting Geno Atkins. We were drafting Carlos Dunlap. And these guys are in lower rounds. We were drafting these guys. We're not now. Since Duke Tobin has been the main guy, unless we're drafting a top 5, name me a solid pick that's been here for a while. I mean, Logan Wilson was good for a little bit. That first pick we had, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Logan Wilson was great. T. Higgins fell in our lap. We got lucky that everybody passed on him. Logan Wilson was a good pick. Now, he's since moved on. That's the best draft he's had. So I do think if we keep the pressure on him, that he will change, especially if the next home game we go to, and there's more. I can't remember which home game is next. But there's more of the opposing team. Who is it? Chicago, Pittsburgh. New England. If there's more Patriots fans there than Bengals fans, and we keep hearing "Go Pats," go whatever the hell their chant is, I have no idea. Yeah, they're getting their money, but you know how bad a look that is, and it's on TV. All these games are on TV. Like back in the 90s, when he stunk, we had blackouts. The games were on TV, so it didn't look as bad. Now, you got ESPN First Take. You got Barstool going after him on national TV shows. You got podcasts like me and Ace and Zim and Bengals and Brews and Joe Goodberry and Bengalorian and Drew Garrison and so many. And we're all saying the same thing. There's so much stuff going. They can't ignore it. I know Skinny said he doesn't hear that stuff. The girls do. I guarantee you Elizabeth and Caroline hear us. I guarantee you they do because they heard us about the Ring of Honor. Let's see here. Wing says former player Anthony Munoz would good for GM. I don't think Anthony wants to do it. I think he would be, but yeah, I don't think Anthony has any desire to do that. He's never coached or anything since he's retired. So let's see here. Augie. Duke's stress are good, but they're absolute layups in the early rounds. If you go back to, what I'm talking about, Augie, is you go back to the ones where he drafted with Marvin, and those late round picks, they did good. I mean, you got Andy Dalton in the second round. Nobody's sitting there saying, "Oh, you got to definitely take Andy Dalton," or "Oh, you got to take Geno Atkins," or "You got to take Carlos Dunlap." There's Marvin and Duke worked good together. The thing is, what's crazy is he had layups in this year's draft that he didn't take. That's where I'm like, is he starting to become Bengalized? Is he starting to listen to Mike Brown too much? Going, yeah. I know we should take Jihad Campbell since we need a linebacker or Stark since we need a safety, but we really need a defensive end, which I agree. We need a defensive end that could impact day one, not one that had to be coached up. Because the way that defense was last year, we didn't need players. We needed the players that were here to be coached up. We needed the players that were coming in to be impact players. So again, a lamp is sitting right in front of them. Nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to go dress Shamar straight. And I'm not out on Shamar. Shamar might still be a really good player. But the problem is we needed an impact player day one. That's what we need. Let's see here. Greg, the 90s. Dylan, my boy Dylan. Darnay, Carl, Blake. And that's it. That's all they had. Because, well, he got lucky and drafted all those guys. We never had an offense line. I mean, he traded up. Remember? Oh, I'll never forget this. He traded up to go get Kajana Carter. And, yeah, he hurt his knee in the very first preseason game. It was unbelievable. All right, it is time for the fantasy portion of this show. He is the one and only. He's Robert Baker from Fantasy Bankroll. What's up, baby?
What's up, man? Sorry for being late.
Oh, that's all right. Stuff happens.
Damn, get that call about the kids last minute, of course.
I get you. Hold on. We did have. Let me scroll back up here. There's my start.
I was trying to answer some of them in the chat too when I saw some people were asking about Knicks and.
Well, I got this one here. Patrick, hey, PPR need a running back and a flex from Woody, RJ, Henry, Finnegan, Loveland. Fannin, sorry. Loveland and Pierce.
Running back and flex. Well,
go flex. Time to have. Oh, sorry. I'm going back to the 90s.
Yeah.
My song.
Yeah.
What you got?
Let's see.
Right off the back, mate. Right off the rip. We're not. You're a half hour late. Let's go.
Just right into it. That's why I was trying to keep up. I was like, we got to jump right into it there. Mm-hmm. Running back. See, RJ's been playing good. I've talked about him on my show this week too. Is he's been doing good. He's been getting limited opportunities. That's the only thing that scares me is J.K. Dobbins is still getting the bulk carries. He still seems to be the kind of goal line guy or whatever you want to call him. But RJ does have 4 touchdowns over the past 2 weeks, and he's had a good versatility. So PPR, it's tough. I tend to lean. Will you pull him back up for me again? I tend to lean towards Woody a little bit, but I do like RJ's upside. Hendy, I don't know what's going on there. So I like him, but I don't know. I'd stay away right now because Ramondre could come back and you don't know what they're going to do. So I've loved Fannin all year because he's been consistent, but the Browns offense is just so horrible so bad other than Judkins. So and then Loveland's like, is that just the Bengals? Because the Bengals are so bad against tight ends. Bad.
Yes.
And then Komet comes back. Does that that's the only thing that worries me about him. So I would, I've been picking up Pierce because he's been kind of starting to click with Daniel Jones a little bit. So it's all 3 of those kind of last ones there are toss-ups on who could be hot. I would lean Pierce. That's kind of how I'm leaning this week on some of the spots where I have some buys and need some fill-ins. So I would say Woody and Pierce with RJ being I personally would be looking at Woody and RJ probably up until Sunday and kind of debating and looking like, all right, the matchups and doing that. But I would start right now. I'd be Woody and Pierce.
Okay.
Now if Komet's out, I would say maybe play Loveland again because the Bears do have a good matchup. But if Komet comes back, it's just so scary. I don't know how they're going to use Loveland.
All right. Now we got Kobe. 45. Kobe. Jordan was better, by the way. What's up, boys?
And I love
bench
Kobe.
One. I love Kobe too, but he's not Jordan.
No.
Need a bench one. Woody, Harvey, White, and Gadsden.
Oh, don't bench Gadsden. He's been on fire. I've got him. I picked him up in 2 of my leagues. I've been so happy. Got to bench one. I say White. I've got White on my bearish list this week because I just don't. Bucky Irvin's he's not back yet. But he's working his way back, so that's already scary. And then they're playing not that matters for this week, I guess, but they're playing the Patriots. And the Patriots have been they're second best against I think the against the run is what I meant to say. Against the run, they've given up the second fewest fantasy points to running backs, and I think they've given up the second fewest total rushing yards as well too. They're definitely second fewest fantasy points, so they're going to make it tough. That's the one thing that they've been bringing to the table. And no, I shouldn't say the one thing because May's been on fire too. So, so if I was going to bench one of those three, my pick would be White.
All right, Augie's in there. He's got something for Rob.
What up, Augie?
Augster. Well, Rob, I have a great issue. I got too many T's. Tyler Warren, Jake Ferguson, Rolando Gadsden Jr., 2 Superflex full PP. But should I trade one of them? And if so, which one?
I was going to say, get rid of one of those. Got the trade coming up. And tight ends hurt now. Whoever had Kraft, I'd be reaching out to whoever had Kraft and be like, hey, I would keep Gadsden personally. I like obviously Warren, and I mean honestly, you've got Ferguson's been top 2 in scoring pretty much the whole year. Warren is top 5, and Gadsden, although he didn't play the first 2 weeks, is already top 10 in tight end yardage, and I think he's 8th in. I just had it pulled up. 8th, I think, in fantasy scoring for tight ends already. So he's obviously Herbert likes throwing to him. So you could float a couple out there. I'd pick. The way I would do it is with those 3. I'd pick whoever you feel most comfortable with by looking at the matchups the rest of the year, and whoever has the best kind of matchups, all right, especially coming up for the playoffs if you're in playoff position. And then I would keep that one, and then I would float a couple trade ideas on the 2 other players and see which people, which one you might be able to hit a better player for. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, they're rolling in now. I like so we're about a month into doing the show on Thursdays. People are realizing here. All right, Raphael here. Should I trade I can't say
Olave?
Thank you for Addison and Kenneth Walker. I have Chase Brown on a bye and would have to start what the hell?
Monanjai.
The
Bears rookie who ran for 8 billion yards on us last week.
Yeah. Oh, I kept saying, hey, they're gonna give him the ball. Stop 25. Yeah, that guy. And he also has Jamar.
Yeah, I mean, I would trade Olave for. I mean, it's tough. I always like to have wide receiver ones because they're going to get those targets, and Olave does get targets. They haven't been, excuse me, they haven't been the best targets this year. And Tyler Show's still a rookie and still trying to figure it out too. So if you can get Addison, and we know he's going to get high volume, and he's going to get not as much double teams because everyone's going to be on Jettas. And Walker hasn't lived up to what we've expected, but you're still getting a number 1 running back and a high-end wide receiver too. So I would say yes. I've got, speaking of Olave, he's on my bearish list this week as well too, because not only did he lose his running mate, but he's got a tough matchup and a rookie quarterback in his second start throwing to him. So there's not many games left. So you got to start to make those decisions, I think, for the playoffs. So I would say, yes, get that, and Addison will be able to help you out more.
All right. That's the last question we have for right now. So what do you got for start, sit, cut, bench, your Bears, your Barons, whatever the list is you said? What do you got?
It's based on the freaking Wall Street, baby. Bullish, when you're bullish on something.
Bulls and Barons. There you go.
Bulls and Bears, yeah. So bullish and bearish. So start, sit, just a little play on the words is a little bit of it. So bullish list this week. I got Jared Goff is going against the Commanders, and they've been not only are they hurting, like players hurting, who knows if Scary Terry's going to play. He's been scary on my fantasy roster all year because he's just been sitting on the bench. So, and it's been teasing me too. He's going to play, and then nothing. So, but yeah, he's going against the Commanders. Not that he's going to help their defense, but Goff's been playing pretty good. 17 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. So, and the Commanders are giving up the most yards per pass attempt at 8.8. They've given up the most passing plays over 20 and over 40 yards. So there's a pretty good chance that that Jared Goff has a pretty good week this week.
So the Bengals defense isn't that bad, huh?
There's some spot. What's funny is there's some spots, especially there's some good matchups for the tight ends this week. But because the Bengals are on bye, it's hilarious how skewed they are. The teams are all like in this like little grouping, and then the Bengals are like Like, how are you giving up almost twice as many points per week to tight ends as everybody else? Like,
if I knew, I would tell them, but I don't know. I don't.
And this year isn't like it's an anomaly points wise, but how many times have we mentioned on the show, right? How many times have we mentioned on the show, and how many times have we mentioned it for years as Bengals fans? That what is like
tight end.
If you have a tight end playing the Bengals, you load them babies up because I don't know what it is. It's like
exactly.
Yeah. Running back Josh Jacobs. The Eagles D, surprisingly, it hasn't been as good as we thought it was going to be anyway. Like for where it was getting drafted and for where it was last year, they did lose some people in free agency. So that always hurts after you lose some players that were maybe even just fill in players, key players in there. So, but the one area they've been really kind of struggling in has been against the rush. So Josh Jacobs this week, obviously the Packers losing Crafts, they're going to try to probably establish the run a little bit more. So, I mean, don't teams usually try to do that anyway to help set up the pass? Most teams. Except the Bengals. We're a pass to set up the run. So, but yeah, I think Jacobs is set up for a good week this week. The Eagles have also given up the third most red zone points to running back. So it's a good chance because he's one of those running backs that kind of always stays in once they get down there. He's not one of them ones that gets pulled out. So that always helps. Let's see. Let's talk about wide receiver. Lab McConkey. Finally, my man. I picked him up in a couple leagues, and I was high on him this year, and it took him a while to get going. But he's finally starting to click. Like it's like Herbert forgot that he was out there for the first 4 weeks. So he was only getting 7 targets and no touchdowns over the first 4 games, and now he's averaging over 9 targets. He's got 4 touchdowns over the last 5 games. So he's starting to click, and the Steelers are giving up I think it's 11 fantasy points per week to the slot position. So not that McConkey strictly plays out of there, but they get him in there. So good chance that he continues his hot streak this week. So I'm playing him. So if you've got him, I would say he's got a good matchup this week.
There you go.
Let's talk about some of the bad matchups and some of these players, and I think we talked about this last week. There's easy layups that I could always pick when I'm talking, especially, when we're talking on the show or whatever, right? Like Tyler Show, right? Like, oh yeah, of course he's going to have a bad matchup. So I'm always kind of trying to pick out players that are in that top 10 to 15 scoring range. So I'm trying to look at those matchups that are going to be more decisive for your fantasy roster. So I know I've talked to people and they're like, you picked that. But like last week we were talking about Josh Allen, right? He ended up having a pretty good game, but Mahomes didn't, right? And we were talking, who was it? Somebody was like, do I pick Mahomes or Mac Jones? And Mac Jones ended up having a better week, but so I try to pick those and not pick the easy ones. So, but this week, Tua, I hate to pick on him. That's what I try not to. But the Bills have been, other than we were talking about the same thing last week, right? Other than against the run, the Bills have been really good this year, and they shut down Patrick Mahomes, who's been having a really good year. They basically shut him down. I won't say shut him down, but way below his average. I think he ended up with like 180 yards or something like that. So, just not a good matchup. They're already missing players, Tyreek Hill and Darren Waller. So not a good matchup. Running backs, Bill, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt for the Commanders. He started out, he had a really good expected rush over average and all that stuff when he first started the first 5 weeks. He's kind of dropped off the last couple weeks, and he's only averaging I got my notes here. He's just averaging just over 3 yards per attempt over the last 5 weeks. So, and the Lions D has been pretty good against the rush. So not somebody, unless you have to. There's, a couple of teams on bye this week, some good running backs, Chase Brown, Williams is on bye, Javonte Williams. So if you need somebody, he's still going to be getting the ball. His carries have actually gone up. That's kind of the crazy part. His carries have gone up, but his average and his kind of return on those carries have gone down over that time. So
I should go back up. We did have another question.
Let's get into it. Let's go.
Let me see here.
I'm just going through some of my highlighted players I want to talk about. So
where did it go? I started and I lost it. I already asked all those. Oh crap! I started a stupid thing so I could find it, and now I got to scroll.
That's why you do the hard stuff.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. I don't know. Okay. Wait. Is that it? That's all right.
Oh, that was me. Yeah, somebody's asking about Knicks and Stafford.
Okay. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Knicks or Stafford. There you go.
Honestly, I like both this week. Stafford has been on fire, 21 touchdowns. He's leading the league. I think by 4 touchdowns, if I believe 17 is I think what Herbert's got. He's in second, so he's been on fire. And if Nakua plays, then obviously he's got the weapons out there. The Niners D is just a little bit tougher than the Raiders, so that's why I like Nick's.
The Niners are hurt, dude. They are so freaking injured.
That's been their big thing all year on both offense, defense. They've been missing players.
Every year they get hurt.
They can't. No, what's funny is this is the year they actually have McCaffrey. Let me knock on wood because I still got him as my keeper. He's been healthy the whole year. He's basically their offense right now. So but I think, and I'm not the biggest Knicks fan, to be honest. I didn't rank him as high as some people to start the year. I thought some of the passes he was making last year, they were just really tight window throws, and I didn't think he'd be able to.
I was surprised how
do the same thing again, but he started out a little slow this year, and I'm like, yeah, and then he kind of picked it up, and I'm like, all right, maybe he is,
maybe he's not garbage. Maybe he's
got he's been playing good, and the Raiders are a little bit better. Like I said, a little bit better matchup, and it's at Denver, right? That's the Thursday night game, right?
That's tonight.
Sunday night, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's at Denver too, so that makes it. I think they play they're one of the teams that plays much better. Well, and then they just got rid of their best wide receiver. So we'll see about that one. But yeah, I would say Knicks. I would say of those, I would say Knicks probably has a little bit better of a game.
All right. So who's some sleepers out there that nobody's thinking about that you got on your list of people? You know what? I think he's got a shot this week.
Well, it's tough at this time of year, man, because everybody's kind of on. There's not many players like even when people get hurt, right? You got people ready to fill in, even for Tucker Kraft, right? People are like, "Oh, I picked up Luke Musgrave." Like it's so quick now with everything. Like once you get past week 3 or 4, other than like last week. Mananjai, right? Manangai, whatever. Mananjai. Kyle
the guy
Manangai.
Who kicked our ass.
Now you got me all messed up on it.
Manangai. Tackle Manangai. Tackle him. He's got the ball. 25.
I don't even want to know how many times that was. Tackle him.
They ran it it seemed like 20 straight times to him. I'm like,
wrap up. There was times it just almost like he was just head down in the back of a lineman, just going
the game was. They replayed the game on NFL Network, and I watched it for a little bit before I fell asleep because I work nights, so I take naps during the day. And Carter
had some nightmares.
Yeah, Carter lined him up, was right there in the hole, and got trucked because he took him shoulder high. I'm like, dude, it's the NFL. You got to hit the running back low. You got to get the leverage. Nope. He took him shoulder high and got pushed straight back. I'm like,
and he's a thick dude. You can tell, just from when they were showing the shots of him, right? He's one of them. You're definitely going to have to wrap up and probably get low, kind of whatever. But it's tough. So yeah, there's not many. I was talking about him on my waiver wire pickup before, but. And there's few of them that pop up during the week that aren't established. So really, Gadsden has been one of the ones that he kind of popped up over the last couple of weeks, and was available until last week in a lot of leagues. So the tight end for the Chargers because he didn't play the first couple of weeks, but he's like I said, he's been coming on. He's already, I think he's only 50 something yards behind Tyler Warren, and what Warren's been doing all year. So he's been one of the latest sleepers, other than Manangai. But if Swift comes back, that's what's tough about him is if Swift comes back, they're probably still going to split that a little bit, which takes away any kind of benefit you got from picking him up. So, but yeah, there's many this week. There's a lot of good matchups at the tight end. So if you are in a big flex league, like a super flex league, or not a super flex league with quarterbacks, right? If you can play 2 quarterbacks, usually you can play 2 quarterbacks. But if you're in one of them leagues where you got a couple spots and you've got 2 of those tight ends like Augie does, I would recommend probably playing 2 of them because there's a lot of good matchups for the tight ends this week.
The tight end week is what you're saying.
Yeah, even though it's not tight end. Now it's not National Tight End Week, but a lot of the top scoring ones. When I was doing my research this week, I was like, wow. I was like, a lot of the top tight ends are all going against teams, and that's what's funny too is the the Bengals aren't playing, and they're obviously, like I said, the worst team against the tight ends, and the Cowboys are pretty bad against tight ends, and they're not playing, and there's still good matchups this week. So that's how kind of set up the tight ends are this week.
All right, Juwan's got a big one here. Who for my wide receiver 2 and 3 flex spots? Deebo Samuel, Quentin Johnson, Tez Johnson, Douglas, Washington. Running backs, Hendrickson, DeMarco, Kasky, Charbonnet, Adams, wide receiver 1, and Jay Taylor and Jacobs. RB1 and RB2. That's a lot there. I'll just keep that up there. Let you.
Yeah. Okay. So we got wide receiver 2 and 3 and a flex spot. Okay. So, man, I do not like these choices at all. Thank you for this.
Making it, you're blowing his mind here. He's like, this
that's a tough one too. You know, what's funny is I liked Washington. He was on my waiver wire pickup kind of list for this week. But that they have a really tough matchup this week too. So the Texans have been one of the top 2 or 3 teams all year against wide receivers and quarterbacks. So I think I got my note in there too. They're the only team I think that's still averaging more interceptions per week than touchdowns allowed. So I would probably shy away from Washington in that regard there. I'd say probably I think someone drops me the Quentin Johnston thing every week since he dropped that 0 just now, because it's like and don't worry too, because he's on my list as well. So I have that same struggle. I like Tez Johnson and Demario Douglas. I still think Quentin's going to get the most targets and opportunities of them. It's just really tough because, like I've mentioned, right, Gadsden's been taking a lot of targets from him. McConkey started to come on. So what I think some of those opportunities he was getting, and not that that's why he should have dropped that goose egg a couple weeks ago, but some of the opportunities he was getting early in the season when he was converting, I think are now going to some of the other receivers, which has been hard. So, I would still lean. Demario Douglas would be one that I would pick as one of those spots for sure. And then I don't want him to, he's going to freaking bite me in the butt, but I would say Johnston, just based on the opportunity. Quentin Johnston. Yeah. I like Tez Johnson, but he's not clicked with Baker like I thought he would after that first kind of game where he actually did really good. So, and then as far as the flex spot, I like DeMarcado. He had that when he was playing earlier before he got hurt, he was looking pretty good. And they had that one bad game, I think, against the Titans or the Jags, where he dropped the ball. He had like a 70-yard run. He dropped the ball at the 1, and then he kind of fell out of favor. But last week he looked pretty good. He literally was at the 1.
I remember that.
He took off. I mean, he was gone. He's quick. He took off.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But then he
the end zone was.
But Michael Carter hasn't done anything, and Bam didn't look very good. Like, for everybody was kind of jumping on the Bam train last week. So I like DeMarcado out of those. Charbonnet's kind of been a letdown. Henderson, we talked about that earlier. I don't know what's going on with him. Henderson I thought he was going to be a lot better than he's been. So, and I always talked about Bill. I don't know what's going on with him either. So of those, like I said, I don't know. This is tough. These are all tough, but I like DeMarcado for the flex spot if you're trying to get a running back in there. And then Demario Douglas and Quentin Johnston. The only thing I would say maybe could be a swappable is that Quentin Johnston and Tez Johnson. Too many Johnsons going on right now. Too many Johnsons in my mouth. But get the don't clip that one. But yeah, I would lean Johnston, Douglas, and DeMarcado right now.
All right. So we got another one here. Barron. Trey Tucker or Kincaid flex PPR just dropped Cooper for Tucker.
Yeah, Tucker's going to get number 1 targets, especially now because Myers is gone. So I just still don't know what that means as far as, because even Meyer, they weren't getting a lot from the receiver position. So I don't know if that's a benefit for him or not. And he really had that really big game has really kind of propped him up. So, and I've got Kincaid on my bullish list this week. So if we've kind of hit some of the people on there already. So they got Miami, and Miami's been the worst team other than the Bengals. Though it's tough because other than us, they've been the worst against tight ends. So Kincaid's snaps have been down. I was looking at that, and I talk about it in my show this week. Is his snaps have been down, but he's been making the most, even when he only had one catch 2 weeks ago or 2 games ago. It was for a touchdown. So I think this week, though, the Bills will try to game plan for him, knowing that Miami's really weak against tight ends. So especially in the red zone. So of that, I would say Kincaid.
All right, Kincaid.
And Tucker's got to go against the Broncos tonight. And obviously we know the Broncos are pretty tough.
Yeah. All right, Jason here. I'm 7-2. I sent Rico, White, Harrison for Jamar Chase, Hampton, and Woody. Did I win or not?
Yeah.
If you get Jamar Chase, you win. In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, because like it's White, we were just talking about Bucky's practicing this week. He just is in limited capacity, so I don't think he plays. But that means he's probably back next week, right? So as soon as Bucky's back, White's back to 5 to 7 touches a game. So for sure. And then who was the other one? Rico. I mean, Rico's been playing good, but I mean, you don't know what they're doing. They've been stupid enough that they've swapped back. So if they're not going to give you that, like, hey, Rico can run for 200 a week, but we might be dumb and play Chuba Hubbard a couple times. So, and Harrison is capitalize on his couple decent games, because he's been on my roster and I've been thinking about trying to get rid of him too. So you could have traded all 3 of those guys for Jamar Chase, and I think you would have won it, if I'm being honest with you. But
you Woody, Jamar, you won.
I mean, he's I don't know what the rest of your roster looks like, so I always say that it's always hard to say, right? But those people haven't been producing, all the way like that. Maybe a little, maybe you want 2 players, but.
All right, got another one here. My team now, QB Indiana Jones, running back 1, Barkley, running back 2, Kieran, wide receiver Chase, London, Nico, Henry, Flex Sutton, Javonte, Bench Hampton for the playoffs, Terry, Woody, and Tracy. There you go.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah. That was an easy get rid of then, because you're set up. Yeah, you didn't even have to get rid of any of someone really bid on that Rico.
Yeah.
Those Rico. I mean, he's tearing it up. I mean, he's like the Aronde Gadsden of running backs, because he didn't really play, and then all of a sudden now he's like a top 10 fantasy running back. So, but yeah, that's a good one. Javonte's been tearing it up. That's Sutton has some games where he's amazing, and then some where you're like, did he play? So, but still a good receiver. He's still number 1. Like I said, if you can get number 1s, they're going to get the majority of the targets.
Especially if you get the number 1, Uno.
Yeah.
All right. Barron's is A. Pierce and C. Watson also on waivers. I think he was going back to his first comment here. So
yeah, we were talking about Pierce. I mean, I don't know if I still like Kincaid. He's still going to be the one getting the most targets as far as the tight end position for Buffalo this week. But I did talk about Pierce. If you can fit Pierce on your roster, I think he's starting to, because Pittman's been doing good, right? So the defenses always default to Pittman being the number 1 that they're going to like cloud over to or whatever, right? And then they got Downs kind of working in between, and Warren working in between, and Taylor working underneath and in between. So I think Pierce is that guy who he's sneaky fast, right? He's that, that skinny white boy that you're like, no way, he's blowing by me as you turned. We saw it at UC, right? You'd always be like, holy shit, this dude is just flying down the field. So I think Pierce he's not gonna get you the PPR volume, but I think he gets you those potentially what we were talking about a couple weeks ago, right? He gets you those week winning plays, right? Where you're like, I had to play Pierce this week, and he got me 22 on 4 for 110 and a touchdown, with a big play or something.
Alec Pierce is that dude, man. I freaking loved watching him for the Bearcats. He was awesome. All right, man. I've been on for almost 59 minutes. Robert, I think that's all the questions we got for right now. Tell me where they can follow you at, find your show, and any more information you want to plug before I get on out of here.
Yeah, Fantasy Bankroll on YouTube. Obviously at Robert_Banker. Bring your questions over to Twitter, roster questions, waiver wire questions, trade questions. Trade deadlines are coming up in most fantasy leagues. So yeah, come bring them over there. I didn't get my waiver wire video posted this week because of some audio. It was, I don't know. I'll give the background. Anybody who's messed with OBS Studios, when I was setting my stuff up, somehow I scrolled, changed my audio to my laptop audio. So when I go to post, I go to edit, and I sound like I'm talking through a straw. It's like, hey, welcome back to Fantasy Bankroll. And I was like, so I spent, an hour and a half recording my waiver wire show, and it sounds like a 1920s newsreel, like this week, if you want to pick up somebody on the waiver wire. And I'm like, oh my God. So I was like, dang it, dude. I was so my wife slapped. I was so pissed. So, but yeah, usually like I always put out, usually Monday or Tuesday, I'm posting waiver wire. I will post some of them on Twitter too, so some people can come ask questions on there. But I put my waiver wire video up on Monday or Tuesday, and Friday or Saturday I put up my bullish bearish list, which is my stardom situm. So yeah, come find us on Thursdays too. We're doing this every Thursday here.
Each and every Thursday, bring your fantasy questions to the man here, Bake. He knows everything. Well, he knows more than I do because I don't know a whole lot about fantasy football. So
we're gonna get you in there. We're gonna get you in there next. We're gonna do a sports with strawberry ice league.
Yeah, and everybody kick my ass.
Sometimes that's the best way to learn.
There you go. All right, Bake. Appreciate you, brother. Hooday.
Appreciate it, brother. Hooday.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Go check out Robert and his Fantasy Bankroll on his YouTube page, and he's Robert Baker on Twitter. Go there and ask him some questions. He knows what he's talking about, because don't ask me, because I don't know crap about fantasy. So, but thanks for watching. As always, I've been live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch, and I think Instagram. I still haven't got any comments from Instagram yet, so I'm hoping it's going right. This is a new thing. I'm trying to stream to Instagram, but you follow me on all those, along with Threads and TikTok, and of course my Substack. I got some articles out there. I only got one out there this week. I've just been busy. I haven't been able to write as many articles as I had, but I try to get like 3 out there a week. But I've only got one out there this week. Maybe I'll get one done tomorrow. But hey, either way, please go to Sports Strawberry Ice. Google it. You can follow me on all those platforms. I appreciate every single one of you guys watching, listening, commenting on the reels, commenting on the show. You guys are the best. I don't want to say fans, best comments, best chat around. I love you guys. Check out the podcast. I'll be pulling on the sound off later on tonight. Put it on the podcast on Beam Pod, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Way, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate it, like it, review it. Leave a 5-star review and a comment so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. Listen to it tomorrow in the morning as you're heading to work, because we have no, here in Cincinnati anyway, we have no local sports morning show. So listen to my podcast. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, I got to play this part.
All right, shout out to my sponsors. They are Party Lawn and Landscaping for all your lawn and landscaping needs. You need your grass cut, you need shrubbery trimmed, I don't know, you need a paper patio, you need anything. I mean anything. Landscaping required. Think Party Lawn and Landscaping. Also, shout out to T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And of course, Meyer Window, Door, and More. I got it in my house. I highly recommend you get them in yours. They're energy efficient, great looking windows, easy to clean. Meyer Window, Door, and More. Their website is MeyerCincinnati.com. And also shout out to my favorite brewery, Moorline Lager House. Get on down there, get you some delicious Moorline beer, some delicious Moorline food. And tell them I sent you. Moorline Lager House.
Hey guys, want to win a signed T. Higgins helmet like this one right here? Want to know how? Go to the Moorline Lager House website, sign up for their loyalty program, and you will automatically be entered. Already a member? Great. You want to double your chances though? Come on down to my tailgate. Buy a ticket to the pregame experience presented by Best Day Brewery. I'll even give you $10 off by using the promo code pregame10 for $10 off. So let's try this again. You go to Moorline Lager House website, sign up for the loyalty program. You already entered. Great. Then get a ticket to the pregame experience presented by Best Day Brewery at the Moorline Lager House. That's not good enough? $10 off by using promo code 10 and all this. So you can get this helmet that we will be giving away November 23rd. November 23rd. So come on down then. Make sure you win. Come on down this Sunday. We're going to have a great time. We got a DJ. We got beer pong. We got cornhole. We got ice. We're going to root the Bengals on. What more do you want? Let's go! Of course, I'm not going to be there this Sunday because the Bengals are on a bye week. But come down next Sunday for the watch party. We're going to have a great time down there. And make sure you guys join us November 23rd for the next tailgate. We'll be giving away that T. Higgins autograph helmet. It's going to be an awesome, awesome time. Other than that, check me out tomorrow. We're going to have a Who Day Football Friday show with the Godfather, Anthony Kinzenza. And, of course, my boy who drinks in those things, Dale Altman from Bagels and Brews. Other than that, remember this, Who Day for life. And Augie and Trippier beat me to it, but throw it up. That's just sports, baby. See ya!
Another great show. You guys still here? The show's over. You can come back tomorrow. I'm out of here. See ya.